The inordinate quest to jail Nnamdi Kanu is turning Nigeria into a rogue government. The Nigeria government's unrestrained pursuit to jail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, by any means, has left the train of usual legal battle into a feasible moral and ethical debacle. The government have continued to employ dishonest and destructive measures in their fight against the IPOB leader and his movement. This conscious severe abuse does clearly classify Nigeria as a rogue government. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, known for his outspoken advocacy for the rights of the Biafran people and the call for a referendum to enable Biafrans decide their fate with Nigeria, has been conceived as a thorn in the flesh by Nigeria government. And, from all indications, it seems the government is determined to silence Kanu at all costs. Amongst many failed arguments against Kanu, the government still holds that the IPOB leader is responsible for terrorism in the eastern part of the country. However, upon a closer examination from an unbiased point of view, it becomes clear that this charge is unfounded and lacks substantive basis because the IPOB leader has consistently maintained a peaceful approach to his agitation, emphasizing the right to self-determination as enshrined in international law. His calls for a referendum to determine the fate of the Biafran people are not acts of treason, but expressions of a legitimate desire for freedom and self-governance. This was equally acknowledged by the Nigerian Appellate Court in Abuja on October 13, 2022, and quashed every charges, declaring Kanu discharged and acquitted. Unfortunately, Nigeria state continues baselessly in the attempts to link Kanu to acts of violence or terrorism. Over the years, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has remained consistent in his belief of non-violent approach to the freedom of Biafra and the use of truth as the only viable weapon to achieve his purpose of emancipating the Biafran people. Watch the video.
You're still fighting the struggle to have independence for Biafra.
We are fighting for independence, not fighting physically with guns and bullets. We are fighting in terms of our agitation. We are fighting in terms of our belief. We're fighting in terms of our consistency to ensure that we are free, because we're not free. As a free people, we can afford to make life better for our people. Right now, we can't do that because of how Nigeria is structured and because of the very flawed foundations upon which Nigeria rests.
You called for a referendum latest this year, November, you said, I think. Yes. If that doesn't happen, what's the way forward? Because the way it looks like the government will definitely not agree to that.
Then there'll be no elections in Biafra land. No more elections here. They can put whoever they like in office. They can do whatever they like with their political positions. We will not engage in any political process.
You said it's a peaceful struggle, but
yes.
There are some videos of you appearing in the past, especially abroad, in particular in one conference in the US, where you said you need weapons to defend yourself, you need guns and ammunition. How can we understand that in the context that you're saying it's a peaceful struggle?
I'm sure you've heard about the Fulani headsmen killing people all over the place. Have you heard about it?
Of course.
Exactly. So how do you intend to defend yourself against Fulani headsmen without guns and bullets? They've been killing our people, raping our women, destroying crops in the farms, and no one does anything about it. Is that how human beings are supposed to live?
So, and you have the right to arm yourself and defend yourself with arms in that context?
Self-defense is recognized even by all the known laws of the UN. Is that not correct? We have the right. If somebody were to barge into this very interview now wielding a machete or an AK-47, are you suggesting we should let them?
At present, Family Writers Press International (FWPI) is in possession of reliable information indicating the government's reliance on dubious witnesses, including importing imprisoned criminals, especially from Imo State, to testify as instruments of Nnamdi Kanu in terrorism acts. According to our sources, the criminals from Imo State have already been transported to Abuja, and the scripts they will act in court against the IPOB leader to study, and in return, get amnesty from the Imo State Supreme Court imposed Governor Hope Uzodimma. This is not just a travesty of justice, but a mockery of the judicial system. It is a desperate attempt to fabricate evidence and subvert the course of justice. The fact that no IPOB member has ever been convicted of any crime by any competent court is a testament to the peaceful nature of the movement and Kanu's leadership. This malicious approach by Nigeria State did not start today. Recall that the President Buhari administration had put up several of similar false accusations against the IPOB leader at a time, with the Chief Judge of Federal High Court, John Soho, who sought to carry out secret trial on the IPOB leader. DSS officials were masked to groundlessly testify against the IPOB leader, but was resisted. There are other instances where prostitutes from Abuja were also paid for the dirty job, which later got public through one. In 2016, the persecution of Kanu intelligence is not also unveiled the government's plan to import persons from Ghana and Cameroon for the same purpose. But all these kept failing because they are evil plots against an innocent man. The persecution of Kanu is not just about him as an individual, but about the broader issue of freedom of speech and the right to dissent. It sends a chilling message to other activists and dissenters that their voices will not be tolerated. It is a violation of fundamental human rights and a betrayal of the principles of democracy. Nigeria government's plan to jail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unjustly is a show of shame. It is a glaring example of abuse of power, political vendetta, and a disregard for the rule of law. Kanu has not committed any crimes defined by law, and his persecution is a clear case of injustice. It is time for the government to stop this charade that is gradually getting it rogue, and begin to respect the right of all citizens, including those who dare to speak truth to power. Family writers, Press International, one thing is sure: no force on earth can defeat Biafra, and Biafra is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the rising sun. Every attempt to jail our great leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be resisted. Stay tuned for more update and never forget to say a word of prayer for our great leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
What does Biafra mean?
It means freedom, liberty, fairness, equity, and justice.
In practical terms, these are very good sounding words, but in practical terms, what does Biafra mean?
Confederation.
So, a weak center,
very weak,
very strong regions.
Absolutely.
Have you had a change of mind, therefore, about getting an independent Biafra? Because that's what I seem to be hearing.
No, I've not changed my mind, no. An independent Biafra means going back to the way we were before the white man came.
Okay, so you're not talking about a federation when you say a confederation. You're not talking about a federation as part of Nigeria. You're talking about total independence.
Absolute independence.
Complete independence. Now, is there anything that can happen that will make you change your mind about this particular direction?
No.
So it is either Biafra or nothing else?
Or death, yes.
Or death?
That's correct.
If push comes to shove,
yes,
will you go to war?
No, because truth is a far more potent and deadlier weapon than bullets and mortars.
So truth. No war? You've ruled out the...
Absolutely, I don't believe in war, no. No war. When I say Biafra or death, I'll keep pushing. Either I am alive, I die in the process, I won't stop. Allow me to repeat, if you don't mind. Had Sovereign National Conference been convened by the powers that be, where every ethnic nation, I said every, I don't care if there are 600, I don't care. Everyone is
all the 500 plus.
Everyone together to say, this is all, others can delegate, I don't know, powers to other people to attend on their behalf. Sit down to say, what type of country do we want? Sit down, discuss, agree. I can begin to perhaps submit to your position.
Is it too late?
It is way too late. They've killed too many people. They've ruined too many lives. They've wasted too many souls. How do we bring those people back?
If the federal government, given the agitation that is going on, becomes convinced that, you know what, these people have a point, it is time to actually address all these issues, and they begin to systematically address some of these issues, would you change your mind?
No, because of the deceptions of the past.
No trust?
No trust. Aburi was there, it was negotiated. Nothing happened. 1968, if I recall. And the confab report, what became of it? How about the 3 R's? Reconciliation, reconstruction, and heaven knows what else. What became of them? Nothing. Calabar Seaport is not working. Can you tell me why it's not working? It's a seaport used by the colonial masters. Why is it not working today? How about Iguacha Seaport? Why is it not being used? Why not worry? Why must we allow only Lagos to function as a viable seaport? In England, where I used to live, you had Liverpool, you had the Sun, which is Portsmouth, Southampton, everywhere. You had harbors and ports. So why must you have only one?
I've heard people say these are very valid arguments, and that these are things that are to do with bad governance. So the average Biafran, to use your phrase, or Igbo man in the Igbo, is facing poverty much in the same way that the average guy in Yobe State is facing poverty. And so these are issues of governance. You don't agree with that?
I agree completely.
Okay. So if that is it, why isn't the agitation about tackling the problem, which is ensuring good governance, perhaps starting from locally? Because part of the allegations against you is that you don't confront your political leaders in the East, and you'd like to blame Abuja for everything.
Because the way I would want to solve a problem is not how a Fulani man would want to solve it.
You really believe this is an ethnic thing, and the approach is different?
No, the approach is different. No, it's not ethnic. It is more to do with value system.
Right.
The way you may want to solve a problem could be markedly different from how I do mine.
What is the geographical makeup of Biafra, as far as you are concerned, this Biafra that you want? So, for example, if we're doing a referendum, where will that referendum take place? Is it only the 5?
It's on, no.
It's okay.
It's on, which is River State, Bayelsa, Delta, Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi, Cross River.
Akwa Ibom?
And Akwa Ibom, of course. Akwa Ibom, yes.
Right.
Those are the coasters. Basically,
Bayelsa?
Yes. Southeast and South-South without Edo State.
Without Edo State.
That's correct. And then including Igede, Idoma.
Right, the Benues. So
That's
the
correct.
Igalas and part of the Kogi,
Yes.
Kogi
Yes.
State, right?
Yeah.
Nyesom Wike, the governor of Anambra, sorry, the governor of River State, made a statement, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday,
yes, I heard about it.
and said, you know, you should not be including River State.
It's for
and
the people of River State
the
to decide,
people.
not him. I can't decide for Biafrans. They have to go and vote and convince the whole world that they want Biafra. It's not for instance, it's only one man, one vote.
What if they're not even willing to take part in the referendum? Because I've had people from the South, for example, from Bayelsa. I've had people from Cross River. I think there's a famous actress, Kate Henshaw, for example, wrote a long piece about why people of the South don't want to be dragged into a place called Biafra. You're saying, regardless of what they say, you want a referendum in those parts?
Because I know the majority of the people want a referendum. I was in Iguacha yesterday.
How do you know?
I was there yesterday. I was in Iguacha yesterday. You call Port Harcourt. I was there yesterday. I should have been there to see what happened.
Now,
They were delighted to see me. I'm sure you know that. It's all over the place. They're very happy to see me. I bet Kate Henshaw wouldn't get such reception. Where she to go to?
as a big, popular Nollywood actress, I wouldn't necessarily...
I'm telling you, if I go to her village, people will turn out to see me more than turn out to see her.